Two,
Progress.
1, we are live.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to all the dear students and all the stakeholders who have joined today with us for the session. I welcome our Honorable President, C. Aniket Sunil Talati ji. I also welcome our Honorable Vice President, C. Ranjit Kumar Agarwal ji. I also welcome our Honorable Chairman, Board of Studies, C. Vishal Doshi ji. I also welcome our Vice Chairman, Board of Studies, C.A. Dayanivas Sharma ji. All of the dignitaries have joined today to apprise all of you about the new scheme, because when the new scheme comes, a lot of questions are coming in the students' minds. So all the people at the helm of the affairs have joined today to resolve your queries, to tell you as to how smooth the scheme is, how well drafted the scheme is, and your journey as a chartered accountant is going to be very smooth. So today they'll be talking about all it. And students, let me also tell you that we have got thousands of queries from your end. And what we have also seen is the FAQs which we have uploaded. I think your queries are also akin to the FAQs. So do not worry. We are trying to resolve every issue of yours, and you'll be getting the emails also from our side. So today, now I also welcome first our Chairman, Sir, C.A. Vishal Doshi ji. Sir, if you can give the welcome address. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. Very, very good afternoon to all my dear students, members, parents, academicians, and other stakeholders who have joined this national outreach webcast on the new scheme of education and training. Friends, let me tell you, it was indeed a moment of pride for all of us on 1st of July 2023, when the Honorable President of India, Srimati Draupadi Murmu ji, launched the new scheme of education and training, which all of us were waiting for a long period of time. I would say that this new scheme is path-breaking in a number of ways with respect to the interesting aspects of the articleship being reduced to 2 years, the technology-driven initiatives by introduction of self-paced learning modules, and many, many other features which our leadership would dwell upon in detail. We are also very happy to share that on 1st July, immediately after launch of the scheme, we were able to, we launched the FAQs, the transition provisions, the syllabus, the study material of all the 3 levels, as well as the self-paced set A and set B on the website. And this is now available to everybody in the soft form. Like it was mentioned that we have we have also mentioned about an email address where queries can be asked, and we have received a lot of queries, which we are indeed very happy to receive them, because ultimately they would help us in making the transition more smoother. We have tried to cover all the aspects as far as the transition is concerned, but with your queries, your concerns, we will be able to make it more smoother. And at this point in time, I would like to share with the leadership, our Honorable President of ICI, C.A. Aniket Talati ji, our Honorable Vice President of ICI, C.A. Ranjit Kumar Agarwal ji, Vice Chairman, Board of Studies, C.A. Dayanivas Sharma ji, and all other stakeholders that, sir, we would be going forward, wherever required, coming out with more FAQs also for the benefit of the students and the others concerned. At this moment, I would like to share that as one of the additional initiative for the students, we are going to launch, or I would say we are going to release MCQ paper practice dashboard, which was going to be made available to the students on the BOS Knowledge Portal as well as their BOS mobile app. And I would request our Honorable President of ICI, along with the Vice President, to kindly advise the release of the app on the screen.
The app may please be released. And congratulations to Board of Studies,
and to all the students.
So, thank you, President, sir. I would just like to highlight some of the salient features of this MCQ practice dashboard. The first being that it provides a very user-friendly platform at the BUS Knowledge Portal as well as the mobile app to students at all the levels, that is the foundation, intermediate, and final. The students can track the correct MCQ questions, the numbers paper-wise as well as chapter-wise, and their performance can also be tracked accordingly. The students are or can be able to select the questions based on the chapters, one or multiple chapters in a particular subject, as well as the level of difficulty into simple, medium, and difficult. And it would throw up a case or an exam, MCQ exam of around 20 questions. And the new MCQs we would be keeping on uploading from time to time by the faculties of the Board of Studies, and it would be reflected on the students' dashboard, and this would enable the students to practice more and more and achieve success in their CA exams. So with this, once again, I welcome all of you to this national webinar, and I would now request our Honorable Vice President, CA Ranjit Kumar Agarwal ji, to kindly address the audience.
Thank you very much, the Chairman of the Board of Studies, Visalji Doshi, our President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants India, C. Aniket Talati, Vice Chairman of the Board of Studies, Dayanivas Sharma, Director Board of Studies, Bandana ji, and all the very, very young and bright students of Institute of Chartered Accountants India. First of all, my compliment to those who have cleared this today intermediate or final examinations, for which the result has been announced today. It was a very, very good result as per the past practice is concerned. Friends, today we are sitting here for a very, very important interactive session where we can, the Board of Studies can guide you or resolve your various queries as far as new course curriculum is concerned. But let me tell you, the United Nations has set up some of the goals, sustainable development goals they have set up, which has to be completed by 2030. And India has adopted some of them goal in 2015. And one of the goal is the SDC 4, which talks about inclusive and quality education and lifetime learning opportunities. So on this line, the new education policy has also changes their curriculum on these lines of this UN SDG. And if you look at our syllabus, the way the new course curriculum has been drafted, it includes, have a feeling of this roadmap of new education policy. And there is a time-tested, research-oriented professional theories that which we call it 7-to-1, 70%, 20%, and 10%. So 70% talks about the learning on the job, the experience learning. In our case, it's articleship training. 20% mentoring and learning from the groups and your mentors. That is our group discussion in various social event, and 10% will be classroom teaching, which talks about the course curriculum, education, and all these tuitions and all classes. So on these lines, 70%, 20%, and 10%, our course has been designed as one of the best professional course of India and to some extent worldwide also. In this course, we have also included a major emphasis has been given on the IT and the professional ethics. So if you are going to be a professional accountant, so the ethics is the most important part, and that's why ethics has been given a most important part. And as you all are aware, information technology is the new barometer or new parameter to judge the capability and capacity of the professionals. So that's why this information technology in various means has also been included in our new course. And this course also talks about how you can be a self-developed entrepreneur. Because the model of this entire institute, which was founded in 1949, how to be a job creator rather than be a job seeker. And that's why this new course curriculum also make a special emphasis on once you qualify a chartered accountant, how you can yourself be an entrepreneur, where you can guide and develop the growth of this country as well as growth of the humankind. And the last but not the least, the way this course has been designed as far as 2 years of articles is concerned, as far as various course curriculum, self-paced model is concerned, IT is concerned, ethics is concerned. It's now, although our institute has evolved over the period of time as far as course curriculum is concerned in last 75 years, and this milestone of this new course curriculum of 2022 is one of the important aspects of this entire journey of ICI. And I believe whatever changes we have brought in this new course curriculum will be a path-breaking initiative as far as global perspective of education and learning is concerned. And once you qualify after becoming a chartered accountant through this new course curriculum, I am hopeful you can be a better chartered accountant, you can be a better citizen, and you can be a better entrepreneur, so that all your quality of learning of this entire course curriculum will help you to be a better citizen and better person in yourself as far as your country is concerned, both way. So I hope this interactive session will resolve most of your query, although FAQ have already issued, so most of the query might have been resolved. But if some queries are left out, the team is there to guide you. I wish all of you best of luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice President, sir. And we will definitely keep in mind this 7-1 funda of yours. Thanks for your kind words of motivation and appreciation. Friends, the new scheme is in line with the international education standards as well as the NEP 2020 of our country. And I would now request our Honorable President, CA Aniket Talatiji, to address all of us. But before that, I would like to share that he has been a guide and a source of inspiration for us at the Board of Studies since the last 1 year, because all of us know that, yes, though we were very happy on 1st July, but the journey had its own bumps and speed breakers. And he, along with the Vice President, sir, and the immediate past President, CA Dr. Devashish Mitraji, were always there to guide us and navigate us. And here we are today in front of all of you because of his sheer guidance and motivation. I would now request our President, sir, to kindly address the audience.
Thank you so much. The Honorable Vice President of the Institute, CA Ranjit Agarwalji, who has been a very important part of this journey of getting this CRET launched. The Chairman of Board of Studies, Vishal Doshi ji, who was the Vice Chairman last year. So 2 dedicated years of working on this CRET. Siddhanivas Sharma ji, the Vice Chairman and Chairman of US last year. And again, both of them have worked shoulder to shoulder over the past 1.5 years to ensure that they could give to the students a new course curriculum that you were all dreaming and waiting about. So I must begin by my compliments to the two of you. To the Director Board of Studies, Vanda Nagpalji, who I've had the pleasure of knowing for so many years. And Madam, my sincere compliments to you and your entire team. I think so many staff, officers, faculty who have worked day in, day out to ensure that the magic that could be delivered on 1st of July, because it was no shorter than magic for all of us, that on 1st of July, when the Honorable President of India, Draupadi Murmu ji, launched the prospectus and hence the course of new CRET, that is the new curriculum, within minutes you had the entire portal ready with not only the syllabus, but the study material, the FAQs, the revised changes which are there in this education and training. And I think huge credit of this goes to the entire Board of Studies team, and Vandaji, to you as the Director BOS. So once again, compliments Vishalji, Dayaji and Vandaji. And a very good evening to all the students, their parents, academicians, chartered accountants also who are keen to understand the changes and may have some questions in their mind regarding this new curriculum. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a matter of great pleasure to be in your midst this evening. And let me tell you that today morning was again a historic opportunity for me to sign the results of both the intermediate and final examination on 5th of July. This is probably the fastest that in 45 days of conclusion of the exam, the results have been declared for both intermediate and final. And I cannot underscore the importance of this than the fact that, yes, many of you, to be precise, more than 13,500 of you are celebrating as chartered accountants. Close to 14,000 or more who have cleared intermediate, who had only one group pending and the other group has been passed, or some of you have passed both groups. I think it's a joyous moment for you. But more importantly, I feel for those of our friends and colleagues and students who couldn't clear in this attempt. Earlier, the intermediate result used to be end of July. And for them to get one additional month of July to prepare for the November examination, I personally think it's a blessing. And I hope that definitely this time shortening of the result will help you and make you clear in the November examination. So those who couldn't clear, don't be disheartened. We are always wishing the best for all of you. And I'm glad that this time the result was again very good in terms of the performance of the students. And I'm sure those who have cleared the intermediate will move forward with their final examination in the new curriculum. And for those who have cleared the final examination, I welcome you to this great profession of chartered accountancy, and my best wishes for a successful professional career ahead. The proof of the pudding, as they say, lies in the tasting. And similarly, the proof of a successful CRET, I think, lies in the feedback that we get. And I am very delighted to mention that ever since this CRET has been discussed, I was told by the Board of Studies that they did more than 100 outreach programs to get feedback from students, members, academicians, all industry members in practice, firms, and all constituents of ICI to develop this CRET in the manner that it has come out with. And the best part about it was the kind of patience with which all of you waited for this. The institute, as you are aware, functions under the administrative control of the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and such a huge change in the curriculum requires approval not just of the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, but also the Law Department in terms of the drafting of the changes of the regulations. And I think all of this, along with trying to have a view from the council and then approval from the government on the course curriculum, has come full circle. The activity which started almost, I would say, 2 years ago has today culminated in the launch of this curriculum. And I'm delighted that this time on 1st of July itself, you had the entire syllabus ready. You do not have to wait for a few months for the syllabus to come out. You have study material ready. And for those of you who are curious to know what will happen with regards to some of you who have exemptions or have cleared one group in the old scheme and now will be going into the new scheme, please be rest assured that this entire scheme of transition of examination results, the transition from old to new scheme, will be explained today by the BOS team, but also about your examination credit of group or individual subjects has been in detailed deliberated in the exam committee and will be taken up in the very next council. And since the new attempt is only in May, but we are mindful that you would like to have clarity on these aspects of what are the credits which will be available. Let me assure you that in the next council itself, we will have a thorough discussion on this, and relevant information will be given to all stakeholders so that you can plan and prepare in advance and you are aware of what is going to be the credit that is available to you. Having said that, it is important to remind you that the November attempt, that is the November 23 attempt, is going to be held under the old curriculum that is already in vogue. And I call it old because till 5 days ago, we used to refer to it as existing, but now that has become to that extent old because we now have a new curriculum which is in place. But I was delighted, let me tell you, to see the wonderful reactions that so many of you have sent us over email, WhatsApp, and even on social media on launch of this curriculum. And let me tell you that the concerns or the questions that you have, those are also being monitored on an individual basis by the Board of Studies, and that has helped them prepare this FAQ. If there are any additional questions, I encourage you to write them to us so that they come to our knowledge, and whatever clarification has to be issued by the institute, it can be issued. If you face any difficulties because of this implementation of this new course, and be very mindful, and we are also conscious of the fact that whenever a new change comes in, there will be certain challenges or hardships that some class of students may have to face. It is always bound to happen. But what is very well understood by the council is that whenever such issues arise, we will be proactive in resolving them. I am sure the board will give you necessary clarifications in terms of answers to those questions. And wherever a council intervention of action is required, let me assure you, that will also be done, because at the heart of the profession and at the heart of the council, and believe me when I say this, is the student community. Whenever we talk about ICI, never in my entire professional career have I referred to ICI only with the membership strength. If I am speaking in India or addressing at IFAC at the international forum with 170 countries, in the same breath that we mentioned 4 lakh chartered accountants, and today with 13,000 more, clearly that number is going to probably cross 4 lakh, close to 4 lakh chartered accountants. In the same breath, I mentioned with a lot of pride about the 8,50,000 students that we have who are pursuing the course of chartered accountancy. And this is the same with the vice president. It is the same with chairman, vice chairman, BOS, and every council member who speaks. Because for us, the student community is extremely important. And therefore, let me reiterate that any issues that you have, you may please reach out to the institute, to the Board of Studies, and the resolution of that will be done in the fastest possible manner in the best interest of students. I'm also delighted to mention to you that in this new scheme, it is not just about the 6 papers that will be there at intermediate and final, the 2 years uninterrupted training, which I know many students are excited about, or the self-paced modules which are being introduced, or the MCQ which is coming in. I think one very important aspect is for those students who do not complete the final, will have the opportunity now to get a BAA qualification, which is a business accounting associate. And I truly believe that a student who has cleared his intermediate, has articleship experience, and has also done the IT training from the institute, is extremely well placed to serve the industry, to become a business accounting associate. And now this recognition which will be given to them in the years to come will be a very important professional qualification and a recognition for our students who do not complete final or who choose not to do it. And it is an excellent exit route, and I'm sure it will be appreciated by students at large. A very important aspect of this course is also the international curriculum, where ICI is no longer looking to be the leading accounting body of India and from India only. We are from India, but our course curriculum today is so popular that we have 80 overseas chapters and representative offices in 80 global cities and 48 countries. And with this kind of presence globally, there is more appetite for our course. And with this new feature which is being introduced in the new curriculum, we will take this CA course globally so that students from other countries who want to do chartered accountancy will be able to do this. And so the day is not far, my dear student friends, that from 5-7 years from now, when you go down at an airport or maybe at a market or in the financial capitals of the world, and you walk and say, I am a chartered accountant from ICI, you may probably not see a person from Indian origin. He may be from some other country, totally different looking from you in terms of their appearance, color, everything else, but would have also done chartered accountancy from ICI. That is the kind of vision that we have to take this course global. And I am sure, having tasted success for 75 years as a profession which is respected and especially in this 75th year of ICI, which is truly historic because it runs parallel to the independence of India and the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav celebration. And while we are celebrating our 75th year as 75 years of trust, 75 saal Vishwas ke, I think it's an excellent opportunity to pivot, to look at the newer areas and develop the next generation chartered accountants who are not only well equipped technically, but also have the best IT skills and the technological skills. So with these words, I once again compliment the Board of Studies for having taken up this onerous task, such a difficult task of revising the curriculum, having everything ready on the go. And let me assure you that going forward also, whatever are your questions, concerns or queries, they will be addressed by this board in a timely manner. And I wish all the students all the very best and great success in your professional life. Always remember, I am the I in ICAI. ICI starts with I, ends with I. And therefore, ICI starts with you, ICI ends with you. You are the institute. You are India. And therefore, these two flags of the institute and of our mother India are behind us to remind us of the onerous responsibility that we all have. Wish you all the best. May you all be successful chartered accountants very soon, and look forward to welcoming you to our fraternity of chartered accountants. All the best.
Thank you very much, President Sir. And your words of motivation, not only for us, but for the student community as a whole, is going to help us achieving more and more milestones. At this moment, I would be failing in my duties if I do not acknowledge and thank our council members, all the council members, the government nominees, as well as the experts who also toiled with us day and night for the syllabus as well as the study material, so that, like you mentioned, we were able to release all of them on 1st of July as soon as the scheme is launched. With this, I would now request Vice Chairman of the Board of Studies, Sri Dayanyas Sharma ji, to kindly propose a vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Honorable President Aniket Talati sir, Honorable Vice President Ranjit Agarwal sir, all the people who are today watching this entire video, let me just share something which is very important, that this 75 years is very special for the institute, because if you have heard the President as well as the Vice President, their dream about tomorrow's institute is very different and very new. There has been an end to the old regime, but there is a new beginning with a lot of legacy learning which we have gone through. A journey which has been taken 2 years to complete this entire course, and the kind of involvement which our council members have, put in, and the kind of discussions, the kind of grind we have gone through. वो बोलने की बात है ना सर, जब सोने पे जितना जोर से मारो उतना ही सोना चमकता है. It is basically this journey of this new course, which today we are comparing with most of the international courses, is actually going to give us a new beginning in the process. What better day, President sir, that you would have decided that on 1st of July the course was launched, and today when the results of inter and final, which is issued in the shortest time, and by end of today evening before the sunset, you are actually giving a sunrise thoughts to the new generation which is actually participating in time to come. Sir, this gives a lot of confidence when you talk about the international curriculum, when you talk about the kind of transparency with which we have actually gone through in coming out with this new education policy, has actually given a lot of confidence to us. Dear students, family members of the students, principals, there has been a lot deliberation which has gone through the entire part. And what we can say from the council, from the chair itself, when it comes, the transparency is at its peak, when we have been discussing time and again, deliberating and putting everything before you all people. And so nicely that has been reciprocated, sir. More than comments or more than queries, what we have received is a kind of satisfaction, because the students will be very happy under your leadership, under the leadership of past president, under the leadership of vice president, and the leadership of entire council. Their entire queries have been deliberated by all the council members as if their children are writing their examination. So when you talk about student base, I think this is where the thoughts are being going towards. Friends, let me thank the president of the institute for giving this vision today to all of us, so that we can take a newer horizons from tomorrow and take new, avenues and time to come in the entire process of new learning process. I also thank the vice president who taught today 7-to-1 issue, 7-to-1 calculation, which is very unique, which he talked a period back. But again, reiterating, sir, is actually a thought, because the students are always new and different. So they understand the importance of practical training, which is very important. A journey which is walked together with the chairman has been a memorable, and it will be written in a golden words of my life also, to thank you, chairman, for ensuring that, you have participated, you have ensured that the students, before they understand what MCQ is going to be in the examination, because the very unique thing which we have introduced is actually been taught and put before the students for practicing the day the course itself is launched. I think the entire board of studies, the way they have put forward their heart and soul into it, that thanks to all these people, and more importantly, the government nominees, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, which has trusted all of us that when we want to revamp this entire course, they have asked time and again, they have taken a feedback independently, and they got that confidence that this course can be released, and this course is actually going to transform the entire education system of accounting and commerce, not only in India, but worldwide. We are thankful to them and the entire ecosystem, the entire stakeholders who are connected with the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. We are thankful to all of you. Students, one thing which we would like to put it before you all, before you ask, we will give. That is what is being preached here on the leadership chairs, and we will continue to do it, sir. Be rest assured, the kind of query, if an individual student would like to come and sit with us and discuss, we will ensure that the student, even if it is one, we will sit together with them and sort out all their queries. Be rest assured, you are actually going to drive a beautiful drive in time to come. I am excited, President sir, to write CA examination again after this course. So thanks to you all. Thank you very much for being part of this entire ecosystem and journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
I won't write. Thank you very much. Thank you. Very nice.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So after those words of wisdom and motivation from our leadership, the Honorable President of ICI and the Vice President of ICI, we shall now move forward with the presentation for today. And I would request my journeyman, the Vice Chairman, CA Deyavinivas Sharma ji, to please start with the deliberation on the new scheme of education and training.
Thank you very much, Chairman sir. It's indeed a pleasure to start this discussion here and talk about the new scheme. I was actually excited since morning when we had to speak about this new education policy, which we are actually coming out with, which has already been approved and released by the hands of Honorable President of India. Students, before I actually take this discussion forward, let us see what is actually the uniqueness of this entire course. Take it from me, all the council members would have actually thought that, they are designing this course for the future of this profession, which included their children also. So for your benefit, let me just share with you certain silent features which are actually been deliberated in this entire process. But take it from me, 100 plus outreach programs, 25,000 feedbacks which have been received. More than 85% of the people who have participated have given their positive response, which was been very much impressive by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs as well. And then the multiple discussions and the justifications we had to put before the government to ensure that they get their right information, that has also been taken care. Comparing with more than 7 international institutes, which are benchmarked on the best practices, involving or considering the NEP 2020, New Education Policy 2020, is also one of the most important aspects which has been there. Furthermore, Chairman sir, I think, comparing with the international education standards and ensuring that all the MRAs, MOUs are being also not impacted and the quality of learning is not at all an inch reduced. Rather, I don't say trimming, but it is basically an alignment, realignment based on today's requirement, how the syllabus have actually gone through. That is also been taken up. Whether it is foundation, inter or final, we have done a complete alignment in totality. Lot of such things. People were thinking that information technology is actually gone out of the syllabus. That has also been part of the final material now. So these all things actually give us a lot of confidence that, the kind of feedback mechanism, review mechanism, and then the comparison where we had more than 200 qualified professionals participating in designing the entire curriculum and the syllabus and the subjects is actually a testimony that this entire thing has gone through a complete process. Before I take the discussion forward, Chairman, you would like to add something, right? We can actually go through. So let me just take you to the presentation now. So I request the office to kindly put on presentation, please. I am taking you to the first slide, which actually, which is, the previous one. Remote impedance. Now, this is the approach which we are going to follow. There are certain important aspects and, notable points which we wanted to put before you about the scheme, and also certain scenarios are being worked out by office, which we are going to talk in detail. And I'm pretty confident that all of you will be satisfied and you will get all the responses in this entire discussion which we are going to put forward. Let me just take you to the first slide, which is the silent features which President Sir specifically talked about. Let us see this, what is there. Redefined curriculum with 6 papers. I think that has been put transparently before you all people in the outreach itself. And this discussion has been, liked by many of the people, even those people who have qualified their examinations. 2 years of uninterrupted practical training is unmatchable thing today, because the number of days is not going to reduce for the practical training, but the learning process will actually improvise. And the focus on the practical learning, which is the core thing of this entire curriculum of chartered accountancy, the entire education system, when you talk about on the chartered accountancy, is focused on practical training, which is today talked in NEP with regards to the skill development. So this focus, we wanted to really emphasize and ensure that it is a 2 years uninterrupted training. Then the third part is a newer way of learning, which is a self-paced learning, anytime, anywhere learning. And the kind of lectures which are actually going to be put, we are going to try, and the kind of subjects which are being taken in self-paced learning, we are going to talk in the respective slide. But the most important part, which was not at all discussed in past, is on the multidisciplinary subjects and specializations, which is again going to be discussed in the slides which we are going to talk. Ethics and technology in all the core papers of final level is beautifully done. When you see the new syllabus, when you see the new material, you will really appreciate the code of ethics. When you talk about subject specific issues are being discussed, and we are trying to give an experiential learning in this entire process, that what kind of mistakes in unintentionally, even if people have done post qualification, has impacted them. Focus on strategic decision making is one of the most unique thing. If you talk about self-paced learning modules, set A, B, C, D, all are going to come from that perspective only. And it's going to be very interesting. It is going to be more of a storytelling learning rather than a theory discussion, which we are going to continue, which is not going to be the part of our discussion. Further, emphasize on emerging technology training. Let me just put it before you all people, whoever is going to take the new syllabus in time to come, they are going to be up to date on the technology aspect. We are actually having a beautiful subject, which is already there in set D, plus in auditing material, there is one more unique chapter which is included, is called digital audit, which is going to be the unique one, and it is going to be interesting one. 30% MCQ based examination. Just let me tell you before all people that the deliberation happened about the negative marking for this MCQ based. And the deliberation went up to a level where they said, no, there should not be any negative marking. Let the minds of students be active and let them do their effective learning process rather than killing their creative thinking. And that has also been implemented at this point in time on a negative marking. MCQ based is going to be a very interesting examination. 30% of the entire paper is just going to be on MCQ based. Rather, today when President Sir was talking about 45 days of examination, I can put you one day, a day will come, it will be only 30 days of results. 30 days within which the results will come, because only 70% will be there, which we need to really evaluate. 30% will be, I don't know whether online or, OMR sheet kind of thing. Which way it is going to take a move, that we have to wait and watch. BAA, this happens to be my favorite in the entire curriculum which has been designed for 2023, because there are so many friends of mine, unfortunately, who could not complete their chartered accountancy. They have completed their 3 years of training. They have completed their entire examination. They wrote examination multiple times, but they were not being recognized. Today, time has come. The recognition for BA is nothing but it is a recognition of all those lost heroes who have actually given 3 to 5 to 7 years in this CA course. We don't know, but now it is going to be recognized in a true sense. Now, the last one, which we all are excited, is country-specific international curriculum and training. So these are certain silent features which are being thought about. So you can imagine the kind of homework which has gone in through by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, by all the council members, by the Board of Studies, by multiple chartered accountants and other professionals who have participated in designing this entire new curriculum. So I wish you all a great learning experience in time to come. And let me just take you to the next slide, which is the implementation schedule, which is very straight and clean. No confusion from the council point or the institute point. When is it going to start? Whether we'll have a parallel examination or whether we'll not have a parallel examination, how it is going to move. So let us be clear. with regards to last examination in the old scheme will be December 23 for foundation, November 23 for intermediate and final. So this is going to be the final examination which is going to be there. Unfortunately, if any of the students have not cleared, ensure that November 23 should be your last attempt. But I don't want to tell you that you should not pass, but the new curriculum is going to be further more interesting. So the new curriculum is going to start with the first examination in June 24 for foundation and May 24 for intermediate and final. And this 2 years of practical training will be applicable for those students who are going to register for their articleship with effect from 1st July 23, right? So then furthermore, self-paced online modules are going to commence from 1st July 23, but these people will be required to do at a later point in time, not immediately, but it will be effective now. Anything you would like to share, Chairman? Madam, anything? Yeah. Now, these all papers which are being told at the foundation level, intermediate and final level is known to you. Accounting has been realigned. Business laws are being put in a right perspective, which are required at the age and time. Those are the subjects which are being added there. Quantitative aptitude is business mathematics, logical reasoning and statistics, which is going to be very interesting learning for all those students who have not been part of the mathematics in past. This is going to be very easy and comfortable for those students because they all have to learn. Even all of us, whether a person who is not a direct student of mathematics, but everyone in their life requires a business mathematics calculation, logical reasoning calculations and statistics. Business economics is the last paper which is there for foundation. Similarly, when you talk about intermediate, we have now 6 papers divided into 2 groups. Group 1 is going to be advanced accounting. Earlier we had paper 5, right? As again one more accounting paper. So now that has been merged and only one accounting paper is going to be there. Corporate and other laws are going to be forming part of this entire syllabus. And earlier we had 60-40 ratio of direct tax and indirect tax. Now it has been 50-50 marks each. Then in group 2, cost and management accounting is going to be 100 marks. Auditing and ethics is going to be 100 marks. And then group 2 final is 6AB, which is financial management and strategic management, which is going to be 50 marks each. So there is an alignment which is being done with regards to the necessary topics which are required at a foundation, inter and final level. And let me just put it before you. When the experts were sitting together, all the papers of foundation, inter and final have been completely aligned so that a progressive learning process is being defined in totality so that students understand that at my basic level and at my advanced level, what should be there that is only been considered. Now, let me take you to the self-paced module, which is the most unique one, which is being talked about. So people and discussions are such that, 6 papers are being made in inter and final. So 2 are moved from inter and 2 are moved from final. That is how people are actually interpreting. Let it that be interpretation, doesn't matter, because ultimately the learning experience is very important. So in this particular process, what we have done is set A and B are compulsory to be done, which is corporate and economic laws, which is going to be more of a case scenario based learning. Similar is the case with set B, which is strategic cost and performance management. These are all going to be experiential learning in the entire process, where a theory class will be there and a related practical questions will be asked and a case will be developed. From there, you need to answer your questions. That is how the set A and set B is going to be designed in totality. So people have been telling that from final corporate law has been moved. Let me just put it very clearly before you. The division which was there in complete law learning was half in inter, half in final. Whereas in intermediate, we are going to touch upon the basics of corporate law. And when you talk about self-paced learning module, which you need to complete during the course of your articleship, which is anytime, anywhere learning. So there is no restriction there. You need not go and attend any class, or there will not be any specific number of hours. You just switch on your laptop, connect to the net, and just select which one you want to do, which topic you want to do, how much you want to do. Once you learn the entire subject, what will happen is there will be a MCQ, which is going to come subject specific and topic specific. You do your learning, you do your testing, get confidence, and decide a day on which when you want to appear for this examination of self-assessment with regards to online, the self-paced learning. Then set C is been actually eliminated. If you actually see this, all subjects which were actually forming part of some or the other subjects in the entire ecosystem of our learning. And these are today the future of the subjects, where people have to take specializations. So what we have done interestingly in this is set C is been categorized very calculatively in a different topics. Out of those 10 topics which are listed, you can select any one, because this will be a basic learning. Post your qualification, either you will have a certification course or a diploma course in all those subjects which are been written there. Like forensic accounting, you have an FAFD course. In valuation, you have an valuation course. When you talk about risk management and sustainability reporting, you have the certification courses which require specializations that need to be focused upon. So during your articleship, whatever you are learning, whichever subject you are picking up, you actually can take it up from this set C. Set D is one of the most unique thing which has been come, and there is a lot of appreciation and applaud which has been given when we have talked about in multiple forums with regards to getting Constitution of India and art of advocacy in one particular paper. So friends, this is the first time we are actually getting in the Constitution of India and art of advocacy. Similarly, philosophy and psychology, when you talk about today, this is very important for a student to understand the fundamental of philosophy and psychology. Philosophy of an organization, psychology of a person actually is that what we need to audit in time to come. So the financial numbers are becoming more transparent, but it is time that we need to understand the transparency of an organization as well as an individual who is running an organization. Furthermore, entrepreneurship and startup ecosystem, which is again a unique thing which we have tried to introduce, so that any one of you would like to take that as your subject, you can actually move with that. And last but not the least is digital ecosystem and the control environment which is going to be there in the entire digital ecosystem. So these are the subjects which are being given. Set A and B are compulsory, set C and D are recommended. Anyone which you would like to select, you can select. Please take it. It is not that all are to be done. It is any one of the C and any one of the D. Am I right, madam? So otherwise, students will feel that they are required to do all this syllabus in detail, right? Now let me just take you to the next slide, which is the final sheet, which is a final curriculum, which is financial reporting, advanced financial management, advanced auditing assurance and professional ethics, direct tax law and international taxation, indirect tax laws, and integrated business solution. In this entire thing, the paper 6 is going to be one fun learning. I'll put it this way, one fun learning. Whatever you have learned in your foundation, inter or final, or during the course of your practical training is all going to be useful for you all students in a different manner. Very shortly, we are going to come out with certain sample integrated business solutions, questions and how the papers are going to come about. You will understand very interestingly, though there has been a deliberation which has been done at multiple forums by multiple people talking some discussions. My request to all my dear students is just imagine that all of us who are sitting in this council are having our own children also who are actually doing their chartered accountancy course. So we want them to be a finest professional so that these two professionals can compete not only in India, but internationally. So this is the kind of focus which we have put in from our perspective on all these 3 stages or 4 stages of learning. I hope this will be interesting, and if any questions are there, we are ready to take the discussion forward. Now, let me just take you to the next slide. This happens to be my chairman's most favorite slide, which I'll tell my chairman because so beautifully he is explained. We were just trying to put it in bullet form, but then he said, no, let us actually give a roadmap of how this entire education and training is going to go through. The foundation, course, route, or direct entry route. The point is very simple and straight. The moment you join foundation course, you can do it post 10th standard. In 11th and 12th, you can do the registration. Once you write your examination, the same policy is there. Am I right, madam? You want me to repeat, sir? Chairman, sir? Or we can move on. So the course is very clear that, first is the case with regards to foundation, then is the case with regards to direct entry. In both the cases, when you talk about examination, we have to put our fingers crossed very quickly, ensuring that this 4 months of learning, which we are actually putting in, the students can go through. And as I told you in the syllabus itself, we have done a lot of realignment. It will be very interesting learning, and a lot of students will find it interesting in time to come. If parents are listening to this entire discussion, I'll request you to kindly download the prospectus which has been placed in the website so that you will understand what is the curriculum content also which is there. So the student, if he is not being a mathematics student, need not worry. It is basically for them. Business mathematics is something which is very important. So once you complete the 10th standard, you can do the registration, and after completing your examination of 12th and completing 4 months of study period, you can appear immediately whichever exam is there and write your examination. In similarly, when you talk about direct entry, in direct entry, complete your graduation, and based on that provisional registration you can take, and then you can write your examination accordingly. But that is a foundation course. Then once you qualify the foundation examination, you will get 8 months of study period, which is going to be there for both the cases. But parallelly, along with that, you need to complete your GMCS and ITT, which is very important. Once you complete your GMCS ITT and you complete your foundation examinations, you should have a period of 8 months to write your next examination of intermediate, where you are going to write 6 papers only. And these 6 papers, which I have discussed in past, once you qualify that, you and complete the GMCS and ITT, you will be eligible to go for your articleship training, which is for 2 years. When you complete 2 years of articleship training, in which you will get 12 days leave each, and other holidays which are available, that are available for all the students. Once you complete that, during the articleship period, you need to complete your self-paced learning modules also. Once you complete and pass, the point here is those passing or those marks which are coming in the self-paced learning will not be forming part of your main final examination. That is, please keep it with you. So that is independent marks which are available. Now, once you complete self-paced learning, you complete your articleship, then you have to do your advanced ITT and GMCS, which is required to be completed. Once that is completed, you should have 6 months time after completing of your articleship, 6 months time to study, and then after that, whichever is exam coming in, you can write your final examination. Unfortunately, if any person for any reason has to move out of the course, the new concept which has been introduced is BAA, which I'm going to talk. What are the eligibility criteria for BAA in the slides to come. So till here, I hope you all are clear we have put forward this entire thing before you all people. So, Chairman, anything you would like to share? This is okay. I didn't miss out anything, right? Right. Now, let me just take you to the conversion of transition.
And just say that it is not necessary for apply for final for BA.
Yeah. So one point which Chairman added is right, that, you know, if a person is completing his intermediate articleship, then his advanced ITT and GMCS, he may not even appear for and then self-paced. He may not even appear for final examination, but he will be eligible to get the BA certificate. Now let us go to the transition scheme. I think most of you are actually waiting for this. Let me just put it. We'll go for the example which Chairman is going to take it up. So let me just first take you to all the important points which are there for our entire new education and training scheme, right? First and the foremost thing, post November and December examination, all the students will be automatically converted without charging a single rupee fees to a new scheme. So in past, there has been a a parallel examination which was there. Because of that, we had to do a conversion. But in our case, we are not going to have any parallel examination. Please note, we are not going to have parallel thing after November and December examination. December for foundation, November for inter and final, right? After conversion, right? If you have not ordered, yeah, please.
They can.
And if anyone want to convert, they can get converted today also for the new syllabus. That is not a problem.
November, December में नहीं दे रहे.
Who are not writing examination in November and December, because November, December exam is going to be with the old syllabus only. Very clear. Now, if you have not, the second part, after conversion, if you have not ordered the study material earlier, you can place a request in CDS scheme. So you will get the new material only. If you are writing November, December exam, you want the old material, you can still take. But if by God forbid any person has taken the old material and is going to write examination of May 23 or June or May 24 or June 24, in that particular case, they have to pay 500 rupees only for the new material and 1000 for case of inter and final. I hope I am clear, very clear. Right? So if you have not taken it and you want to place an order in the CDS, you will get the new material directly. But students who have already taken the material and would like to take the new material, in case of foundation, it will be 500 rupees only. This also, let me put it, because of only one reason: the study material which we are going to dispatch, online addresses information is required, very important. So when you are going to place your orders, please ensure that all your addresses are properly updated so that this material reaches you, right? Then the third one is group-wise and paper-wise exemption will be announced by the examination department separately. Let me just share with you, there is a complete deliberation of first round which is completed. That is also I'm putting it. We are, after the announcement of the new scheme, we are waiting for people, students, queries to come so that those can be also incorporated and that also can be shared with you soon. But let me just share with you that in most of the cases, institute has always been completely favoring the students, whether it is now, in future, or in past. So don't worry about this. This is important thing. Paper-wise exemption will be shared with you shortly by the examination department. Now, self-paced online modules can be undergone by only after passing both the groups of intermediate examination and after registering for final course. So this is also clear. So when do you have to go through a self-paced learning? Is only when you pass both groups of intermediate and you have registered for final course, right? Then Students who have qualified both groups of intermediate 8 papers are exempted from set C and D because you have completed 8 papers. So set C and D is exempted. There is a deliberation. If any student is interested for the self-satisfaction, we will keep it open, but that is at a later point in time. Today, I do not want to mention. So that the excitement, madam, that student excitement which is there for 10 papers, if they want to do a learning, we'll keep it open, but that will not be a requirement, mandatory requirement for the purpose of examination for all your information. Because a lot of queries have come where we have thought about it. Exemption on set C and D will be applicable to students who have passed 7 papers. Any paper, example, if C or D, group 1 or group 2, depending upon that, the exemption will be given in set C or D. Set C will be applicable for paper group 1, set D will be applicable. Is it right? No, it's option to choose. Okay, fantastic. So again, a favorable point for the student that they'll have an option to choose whichever they want to do, right? In the final course, students unsuccessful on the old scheme will appear in May 24 examination under the new scheme after automatic conversion. Such students may qualify self-paced online module as applicable after passing May 24 examination, but before applying for membership. So we have kept this very comfortable for our students who are in process of completion, so that their examination difficulties are not there. We can keep them very comfortable that way, right? Then
The next one is important. Second sentence.
oh, if unsuccessful in May 24 examination, student would be eligible for subsequent examination only after qualifying self-paced online module. This is very important. Yes, I missed out, madam. Thank you very much for reminding. This is a very important point which you all have to note down.
Relaxation is only for May that they can.
So, yeah. So further to clarify is basically this relaxation is only for May 24, where they can do it post passing and before taking membership. But for May 24, after May 24, it's going to be you need to clear that self-paced and then only you can go for final examination. Now, let me just take you to the next point, which is students who have not commenced practical training. There has been a very interesting discussion, Chairman sir, with regards to this 30th June. Lot of who have commenced. Yeah, so before and after both are there. So I'm just talking on the Mudda of 30th June 23. Lot of people had deliberation, discussion that I've cleared only one group. Should I join articleship or not? I'm waiting for the inter-examination result. What will happen if it is there? So friends, we were very clear in our announcement. Students who have commenced practical training by 30th June will have to continue 3 years of practical trainings. 156 days of leaves will be there. They have to undergo AICITSS course during the practical and ensure that before examinations they complete, be eligible to appear for final examination under the new scheme, which is for the 6 months period, which is very clear. Right, madam? Right. Now, let me just take you to the next one. Students who have passed either group of intermediate and did not commence their 3 years of practical training till 30th June, uska kya hai? So, which is example of case today where the students have completed their examination. Students who have completed both the groups, they'll immediately get into the registration, and for all those students have to actually do the articles for 2 years, right? If I have passed anyone, that means if I have not started my articles before 30th June, I have to write my another group, pass, and then join articleship, right? Those students who are going to join now are going to have a entitlement of 12 days leave, right? to be eligible to appear for final examination under the new scheme after 6 months from practical training, subject to qualifying of self-paced learning. So self-paced learning is to be qualified by you in set A and B, because C and D is exempted for you people. Is it clear? I hope. Right? Let me just take you to the next provision, which is student provisionally registered in intermediate under direct entry route. They will be automatically converted into new scheme. They will be eligible to appear intermediate examination after completion of 8 months of study period. Have to pass both groups of intermediate of examination, and they will be eligible to do 2 years of practical training. Then they are entitled for 12 days of leave, have to undergo the AICITSS course post completion of articleship training, right? But before appearing for examination, they are eligible to do the they are eligible to write their final examination in the new scheme after 6 months of completion of their articleship training, and also qualifying the self-paced online modules. So friends, I hope these steps are very clear. This video, we are going to place it before on the BOS portal as well. And anyways, if you have any queries, we are always available to give you all the inputs. Now, let me take you to the next part. Students who will appear in November 23 final examination in the old scheme and pass one group of the group of one of the group will be automatically converted into new scheme. Very simple. November ke andar last examination hai. If you have cleared only one group, so automatically in May 24 you will be converted into new scheme, which, let us be very clear, it is the very clear cutoff. November 23 examination and May 24 examination will be exempted of the remaining group remaining papers in self-paced module, that is C and D. Have to qualify self-paced online module A or B as applicable before applying for membership, which we have discussed in the previous slide also. Continue to do 3 years practicalship training, articleship training. Then 156 days leave calculation is also very clear. Have to complete their course of AIC ITSS course before as soon as before during the process of practical training, but before appearing final examination, right? Now the validity is very clear, that has been deliberated in past. Even in the new CRET, we have actually put foundation course 4 years from the date of conversion for existing student. Thereafter there is no revalidation allowed, because by that time you will complete your level, you are eligible to go for direct entry also, right? So what is the purpose of revalidating in this entire process? Intermediate course, 5 years from the date of conversion of the new scheme. Thereafter, students are allowed to revalidate the intermediate registration only once in the new scheme. That's it. And in final course, in 10 years. So these are the points which are required from a fundamental understanding point of view. Where will you stand after today's result? I hope you got all the clarity. In case you have more for our discussion, we will surely deliberate. Finally, with regards to BAA, which I already talked about, that you need to pass both the groups of intermediate, complete your practical training, complete your AICI TSS training, qualify self-paced learning modules, then you will be eligible to apply for BAA, right? Now, the most important part, which is going to be discussed by the chairman, and yes, I am there with him for further discussions across, and we will be more than happy to give you any kind of clarification. But the part one, which is over, I hope you all understand very clear as on today, where do you stand? Before the chairman starts, let me tell you students one thing. Rather than putting any queries in any other forms of social media, What I request you all people is trust on your institute, trust on your parent body. Ask us. If we are not able to justify or we are not able to give clarification, we promise you we'll go back to the council, we'll rediscuss and we'll put it before all of you. But the point is, rather than taking discussions in any other direction, the good part would be that you share all your concerns, all your queries with us. We'll try our level best to share from our side what best we can do. So take it from us. We are there for you. Be rest assured. Now I'm sharing the platform with Chairman. Over to you, Chairman.
Thank you, Dayabhai, for explaining in detail the whole ambit of the conversion, transition, and important aspects of moving into the new scheme and how it would affect the students. So now, friends, after getting an overview of the whole transition scheme, we will go into some of the specific scenarios. Before that, I would also like to share one thing is what Vanna madam mentioned in her opening remarks, that we have received a lot of emails and when we have been going through them, it was observed that almost or more than 80 to 90% of those emails were situations which were already covered in the frequently asked questions that have been web hosted by the Board of Studies. So my request is, friends, that please download the FAQs, and for those students who have already registered for the CA curriculum, I would request them, please go through the part C of the FAQs where the transition provisions, the scenarios have been covered, and we have envisaged a lot of these scenarios that would be applicable and have given a response to them. And therefore, our earnest request would be to please go through them before you pen down an email or a question. And in case where you feel that the situation that you are in or the question you want to ask is not covered in any of the FAQs, you are most welcome to write to us. So when we compare the old scheme versus the new scheme, if you look at it, intermediate, we have 2 groups of 4 papers each, totaling 8 papers. At the final level, again, we have 2 groups of 4 papers each, totaling 8 papers. And when we move to the new scheme, we have the 2 groups of intermediate, which Dayabhai very clearly mentioned. The 6 papers are there, and final, again, 2 groups of 3 papers each, 6 papers, and we have 4 self-paced online modules. So broadly, if we see in totality, 8 plus 8, 16 papers under the old scheme, and including the self-paced module, we have 6 at the intermediate, 6 at the final, and 4 at the self-paced modules, which is totaling to, again, 16 papers. So Dayabhai also mentioned earlier that the whole scheme is being worked out in a manner that the total number of papers that a student would be passing the old scheme as well as the new scheme, that should not exceed 16 papers is the way in which the whole scheme has been worked out. And like the Honorable President sir also mentioned, there have been deliberations with respect to the mapping and the exemptions that the student would be given or would be eligible for when they have passed a particular paper in the old scheme, and that gets repeated or gets covered in the new scheme, then how that would be addressed. All those announcements would be coming in due course after the scheme or the details are placed before the council. Now, let us go through the various scenarios that, let us say, a student has cleared group 1 under the old scheme, intermediate group 1 under the old scheme. Then the student would be required to pass the group 2 under the new scheme, both the groups of the final examination under the new scheme, as well as the 4 self-paced online modules under the new scheme. Please look at the top right corner. We have very clearly mentioned that the requisite group-wise, paper-wise exemptions would be granted under the new scheme of education and training. And for further details, an announcement in this regard will be made separately. So this is the scenario where a student has passed the intermediate group 1 under the old scheme. Moving on, under scenario 2, where a student has passed the intermediate group 2 under the old scheme. In that situation, the student would be required to pass the intermediate group 1 under the new scheme, and both the groups of the final under the new scheme, self-paced, set A and set B, these are mandatory, and these the student has to pass under the new scheme. And from set C and set D, any one of these self-paced modules would have to be passed or qualified by the student under the new scheme. So for intermediate group 2 who has passed under the old scheme, they have to pass intermediate group 1, final group 2, set A, set B, and either of set C or set D. And that is the choice that would be of the student. If the student has passed both the groups of intermediate under the old scheme, the student would be required to pass final groups, both the groups under the new scheme, and self-paced set A and set B under the new scheme. So this would be the third scenario. And again, I would like to remind everybody that the requisite group-wise, paper-wise exemption would be granted under the new scheme, and an announcement in this regard will be made separately. Moving on, so we deliberated about the three scenarios of intermediate where a student has cleared either group 1 or group 2 or both the groups of intermediate. Now we move on to the final level where the student has cleared group 1 of the final examination under the old scheme. Under that, the student would be required to clear or pass the group 2 of the final examination under the new scheme and self-paced set B under the new scheme. Set A is not required because that is covered under paper 4 of the group 1, which the student has already passed, and therefore the student would be required to pass the set B. And so this is with respect to scenario 4 where the student has cleared the first group of final. Scenario 5 where the student has cleared the second group of the final examination under the old scheme, the student would be required to pass the first group of final under the new scheme and self-paced set A. Again, over here, if we see the student, the set B, which is on the strategic cost management and performance evaluation, the equivalent of that, since the student has already passed in group 2, the student would not be required to again appear for or pass set B under the self-paced online module, and therefore the student will have to pass the group 1 under the new scheme and set A. So these are the 5 scenarios on a macro basis, on a group by group basis, which we thought would bring a lot of clarity to the students about how their journey would continue under the new scheme of education and training.
Chairman, I would like to see all the colors in one go only. These are very nice, actually.
Yeah, so maybe we would like to see a slide which is all white. That means there is nothing pending. Yeah. So now we'll move ahead with some of the scenarios at different levels. Again, like I said, that what we have envisaged. So starting with the foundation level. For students who have appeared in class 12 and registered in foundation course till 1st July 2023, because that was the cutoff for appearing for the December 2023 foundation examination, the student would be eligible to appear under the old scheme in the December 2023 foundation examination. Once the student has passed in the December 2023 examination, the student would register for the intermediate course under the new scheme. If the student is unsuccessful in the foundation exam at the December 2023 exam, the student would be automatically converted to the new scheme of education and training, and the student would be eligible to appear in the foundation exam in June 2024, which would be under the new scheme. Scenario 2 under the foundation level, where the student will appear for class 12 in March 2024. So in this case, the student would have or may have registered for the foundation course on or before 1st July 2023, because the requirement for registration of foundation is that a student can register for foundation after class 10, right? So since this student is in 12 and would have registered or may have registered for foundation on or before July 2023, he would automatically be converted into the new scheme of education and training, because the student would not be eligible to appear for the December 2023 foundation exam, because he would be appearing in class 12 in March 24. So he would automatically get converted and would appear in June 2024 foundation examination. And where the student has not yet registered on or before 1st July, but would register on or after 2nd August, but on or before 1st February 2024 for the foundation examination, the student would be eligible to appear for the June 2024 foundation, which would be held under the new scheme of education and training. The third situation for the foundation level is where the student is in class 11 and would appear in class 12 in March 2025. So the last we saw was March 24. Now we are seeing is March 25. So the rest of the criteria remain the same, because like I said, the student would be eligible to register at any point in time for the foundation. So if he has registered on or before 1st July, he would be converted into the new scheme and would be eligible to appear in June 2025 foundation exam, which would be under the new scheme. And if the student has registered on or after 2nd August 23, but on or before 1st February 2025, then the student would be eligible for the June 25 exam. Friends, over here, I would like to share one very important change that has been brought, that earlier the regulations mentioned that the students for the foundation should have registered on or before 1st of January to be eligible to appear for the June attempt, and on or before 1st of July to be eligible to appear for the December attempt. The change in the regulations under the new scheme is that the student should have registered on or before 4 months from the first day of the month in which the foundation exam is to be conducted. And therefore, for the exam of June 2025, the cutoff date would be 1st February 2025. Coming to the next level or scenarios at the intermediate level, and here we are going to talk about the intermediate level students who would have come through the foundation route, that is after passing the foundation examination. So the first scenario is where the students have appeared in the June 2023 exam, foundation exam under the old scheme. They have been successful. They have passed the foundation exam. They register for their intermediate course by 1st September 2023 and complete 8 months study period. Then they would be eligible to appear for the May 2024 intermediate exam, which would be under the new scheme. Again, I would like to just highlight here that a condition for appearing in the intermediate exam is a minimum 8 months of study period. And therefore, the cutoff date of 1st September 2023, and I hope all those students who are going to appear for the or who have appeared for the June 2023 exam, foundation exam, are keeping this in mind, that after the results are out, please register on or before 1st September 23 to be eligible for the May 2024 attempt of intermediate. The second situation or the second scenario for intermediate under the foundation route is that students who would be appearing for their intermediate examination in November 2023 under the old scheme, because November 23 we are going to have exams under the old scheme. So students who have appeared in that exam, who would be appearing in the November 23 exam, and they are unsuccessful, then they would automatically get converted into the new scheme of education and training and would be eligible to appear in the May 2024 intermediate exam, which would be held under the new scheme. students who have appeared in the May 2023 intermediate exam under the old scheme, both the groups, so whose results have been declared today morning. So if they have passed one of the groups in the old scheme of intermediate or got exemption in any of the papers, then for such students, they would be eligible to appear in the intermediate exam for the remaining group or the remaining papers as in the November 23, which would be under the old scheme. And whatever are the exemption criteria or conditions under the old scheme, they would still apply to the November 2023 examinations. The next scenario, again,
Chairman, one point is basically, if you go back to the previous slide, for the student benefit, it is one thing which I just want to put it for a clarity, saying that this scheme of conversion, or you talk about the entire process, was very clearly put in the previous scheme itself when we launched the entire CRET. So we are making it more clearer now in that sense. That's all I just wanted to say, because this was already forming part of, because there was no specific requirement that, you know, with one group you can get into articles or not. Now it is both, which is important.
yeah. So moving to scenario 4, intermediate level foundation route. Students who would be appearing in the November 2023 intermediate examination under the old scheme, and they pass any of the groups in that examination or get exemption in any of the papers, they would be automatically converted to the new scheme of education and training. In May 2024, they would be appearing in the remaining group of the intermediate exam under the new scheme of education and training, and the exemption as would be provided as per the new scheme would be applicable to them. And after passing the other group, so they have passed the first group or some of the papers in the November 23 exam. After passing the remaining papers, that means they would have passed both the groups of intermediate. They would be able to register for the final course, and they would be opting for the self-paced online modules, that is either set C or set D, which we discussed earlier when we were discussing about the group-wise scenarios. So these are some of the scenarios with respect to the intermediate level, the foundation route. Now moving on to the intermediate level, the direct entry route. So here, under the old scheme, the requirement was that a student under the direct entry would be eligible to appear for the intermediate exam after completing 9 months of practical training. That is, the student after getting registered for intermediate under direct entry route can join practical training, and after completion of 9 months of practical training, the student would be eligible to appear for the intermediate exam. Under the new scheme of education and training, a student has to pass both the groups of intermediate and then only join the practical training, because we are talking about uninterrupted practical training. And so the direct entry students would join intermediate, appear for intermediate examinations, pass both the groups, and they would need a 8-month study period from the date of the registration to the date of the examination. That means as on the date of the intermediate examination, they will need to complete at least 8 months of study period, and then they would be eligible to appear for the intermediate examination, pass both the groups, and join the practical training. So now we move to some of the scenarios at the intermediate level under the direct entry route. So where the students have commenced their 3 years of practical training by 1st February 2023. So they have commenced practical training by 1st February 2023. They would have completed 9 months of articles and would be eligible to appear for the November 2023 intermediate examination, which would be held under the old scheme. If they are successful, they would be registering for final and continuing their journey under the CA course. But if they are unsuccessful, then they would automatically be converted to the new scheme of education and training. They would be eligible to appear in the May 2024 intermediate examination under the new scheme. And as far as the practical training is concerned, they would continue with their 3 years of practical training and be entitled to 156 days of leave. They will have to undergo the AI-CITSS course during the practical training, but before appearing in the final examination, which is the criteria attached with the 3 years of practical training. They would have to qualify the self-paced online modules as applicable after appearing for passing both the groups of the intermediate examination and appear in the final exam under the new scheme in the last 6 months of practical training. So here we need to understand the difference between the two practical training routes, which Dayabai also explained, but I will just repeat it because this is something important, that those who are already registered under 3 years, they would continue to serve 3 years. They would be eligible to 156 days of leave, and they would be eligible to undergo AI-CITSS during their practical training, and they would be eligible to appear for the final examination in the last 6 months of their practical training. Those who would be under the 2 years practical training, they would be entitled to 24 days leave over the 2 years period. They would have to undergo AI-CITSS course after completion of their practical training, and they would be eligible to appear for the final examination after completion of 6 months from the end of their practical training. So these are the two important differences between the 2 years practical training and the 3 years practical training, which everybody needs to keep in mind. So this was the scenario 1. Now moving to scenario 2 under the direct entry route, where the student, after undergoing 9 months of practical training, appears in the November 2023 intermediate exam, which is under the old scheme. The student has passed one of the group or has got exemption in any of the papers. Then the student would be automatically converted to the new scheme of education and training. The student will appear and pass the remaining group or the remaining papers of intermediate exam under the new scheme in May 2024. He would continue with the 3 years of practical training, get 156 days of leave, undergo AI-CITSS during practical training before final exam, qualify for the self-paced online modules as applicable, and appear in the final exam under the new scheme in the last 6 months of practical training. Moving to scenario 3, again intermediate level direct entry route. Students who have commenced their 3 years of practical training by 30th of June, but not completed 8 months study period till 1st November 2023. They would not be eligible for the November 2023 intermediate examination, and they would be automatically converted to the new scheme of education and training. They would be eligible for May 2024 intermediate exam in the new scheme, appear in the intermediate exam under the new scheme in May 24, continue 3 years of practical training, entitled to 156 days leave, undergo AI-CITSS during practical training, but before final exam, qualify self-paced online modules after passing both groups of intermediate, and appear in the final exam in the last 6 months of practical training.
So, Chairman, one quick point is basically we are trying to tell you is if you have done your registration of articles before 30th June, right, sir?
For direct entry?
Yeah, direct entry.
For November, it will be first step.
Yeah. So just trying to put it in manner where if they have registered. So the point is their practical training will be for 3 years, but examination process is for primarily the new scheme, right?
From November 24 onwards, May 24. Yeah, from May 24 onwards, it would be the new scheme for everybody. So scenario 4, where students registered in direct entry after 1st February and have not commenced their practical training by 30th June. Like I said, they would not have completed their 8 months or 9 months, sorry, of their practical training. They would automatically get converted to the new scheme of education and training, eligible for the May 24 exam, appear and pass both groups of the May 24 intermediate exam under the new scheme. because they have not commenced their practical training by 30th June and they are passing both the groups of intermediate, then they will be able to commence 2 years of practical training, entitled to 12 days leave per year, register for the final course, qualify self-paced online modules, undergo AICITSS course after completion of their 2 years of practical training, but before final examination, and appear for final exam after completion of 6 months from the end of their practical training. Direct entry route, again, another scenario 5, that students who will register till 1st September 23 under the new scheme, that is from 1st of July to 1st of September under the new scheme, on completion of 8-month study period, they would be eligible for the May 2024 intermediate examination. Right. So like I said, because they are joining under the new scheme, they would be covered under the 8-month study period. And in May 24, they would be completing, those who have registered till 1st September 23. So they can appear for May 24 intermediate exam under new scheme, appear and pass both groups, commence 2 years of practical training, entitled for 12 days leave, register for final course. So registration for final course, commencement of practical training, and registration for self-paced would be all together. Qualify self-paced online module, undergo AICITSS course after completion of 2 years of PT practical training, and appear for final examination. Scenario 6, again direct entry route. Students registered provisionally before, because direct entry route, why so many scenarios are there, because like I mentioned earlier, there is a change in the requirement. Like presently a student can join practical training, complete 9 months and appear, and in the new scheme they join intermediate, complete 8-month study period, then appear. And therefore there are the scenarios as compared to the foundation route, because in foundation route there is no such requirement change or eligibility change, and therefore scenarios were less. So students who have registered provisionally before 1st July 23 from the direct entry route, and their final year graduation result will be declared in June or July 23, they would automatically be converted to the new scheme of education and training. They would not be eligible for the November 23 attempt. They would have to complete 8-month study period and would be eligible for the May 24 inter exam only after passing the final year graduation. They appear and pass both groups of intermediate exam under new scheme, and the rest of the eligibility for appearing for final exam under the new scheme, it remains the same.
Sir, I would like to add, sir. Now in the new scheme, earlier, in the earlier scheme, what we were having, student could register provisionally when they were in the last year of the graduation. Now, to make it much more easier, those students who could not get that eligibility percentage of marks in graduation, in post-graduation, if they're having the percentage of marks, they can always come through the post-graduation routes. But now what we have done, now provisionally the registration for postgraduate students is also now allowed. So now in their last year of their post-graduation, they can provisionally register, and after completion of 8 months, they can appear for the exam. So that's the change.
Yeah, thank you, madam, for clarifying that. So now moving on to the last scenario under the direct entry route at the intermediate level. Students who will register provisionally on or after 1st July 23 till 1st March of 2024 in the new scheme of education and training, and their final year graduation result will be declared in June, July 24. So next year. So they would be required to complete 8-month study period and would be eligible for November 2024 exam. So they would have to register on or before 1st of March 24 to be eligible for the November 24 intermediate exam. And after passing both groups of intermediate exam under the new scheme, they would be able to register for the 2 years of practical training, and the rest of the requirements under the new scheme, 2 years practical training would also apply to them. Moving next to some of the scenarios at the final level. So the first scenario where a student has passed both groups of the intermediate exam under the old scheme and commenced practical training latest by 30th June of 2021. All right, so they would be completing 3 years on 30th June 2024.
Yes, sir. Sir, this particular situation of 30th June was there, sir, because otherwise it is 30th of April, because that was COVID period. So 2 months relaxation was there, sir. So accordingly, the students, instead of 2.5 years, it was 2 years and 4 months. They are eligible to sit for the exam, sir, and balance they'll do it after they appear in the final. So this is the peculiar thing, sir.
Yeah. So they would be required to complete their AICIT SS during practical training, but before appearing in the final examination, they would be eligible to appear in the November 23 final exam under the old scheme. So because we are talking of those who have registered by 30th June 21. So if they are successful, we would welcome them as members, as chartered accountants. If they are unsuccessful, they would automatically get converted to the new scheme of education and training, where they will have to pass both the groups of final examination under the new scheme. In May 24, they would have to complete their 3 years of practical training, be entitled to 156 days of leave, qualify self-paced online modules as applicable, and then pass and apply for the membership of the ICAI. Moving to the next scenario at the final level, students who have passed both groups of intermediate and commenced their practical training latest by 31st October 2021. They would not be eligible for the November 23 final examination because the examination has to fall in the last 6 months of their articleship of their practical training, and these students would automatically be converted to the new scheme. They would have to successfully complete their AICIT SS during practical training, but before appearing in the final examination, appear and pass both groups of the final exam, complete the 3 years of practical training, qualify self-paced online modules as applicable, and apply for membership of ICAI. Scenario 3 at the final level, students who will appear in the November 2023 final examination and passes one of the group in the old scheme of final or has got exemption in any of the papers. Such students would be automatically converted to the new scheme because, like we mentioned, the November 23 is the last examination under the old scheme. So they would automatically be converted. The exemption, if any, in the papers may be given as on a case-to-case basis as per the new scheme, as per the announcement that would be made. They would appear and pass the remaining group of the final examination under new scheme in May 24, qualify self-paced online modules as applicable, complete 3 years practical training, and apply for membership of ICAI. Friends, again, I would like to repeat what I had repeated earlier, is that only for the May 2024 attempt, the option to pass or qualify the self-paced online module before applying for membership of the institute is applicable. Post that, the student would have to pass or qualify the self-paced online modules as applicable before appearing for the exam, or that would be one of the eligibility for appearing for the examination. Scenario 4 at the final level, students who will appear in final November 2023 exam under old scheme and unsuccessful in both the groups, they would automatically be converted to the new scheme of education and training, appear and pass both groups in May 24, complete practical training, qualify self-paced online module as applicable, and apply for membership of ICAI. So those were with respect to the final level exams. Now moving on to the practical training, some of the scenarios. Students who have already commenced the practical training till 30th June 2023, they will continue 3 years of practical training. They will be entitled to 156 days of leave. They will have to undergo AICIT SS course during practical training, but before appearing in the final examination, qualify the self-paced online module as applicable after passing both groups of intermediate exam, and they would be eligible to appear for final exam after completion of 6 months from the end of the practice. In the last 6 months, because we are talking about students, so this is an error. We'll correct that. So in the last 6 months, they will have to, they would be eligible to appear for the final examination. Scenario 2 of practical training: students who had already passed either of the intermediate groups and have not commenced the practical training by 30th June 2023. They would be required to appear and pass the remaining group of the intermediate exam under the old scheme in the so this would be a situation like as on today. So for them there would be one attempt under the old scheme in November 2023 to appear and pass the remaining group of the intermediate exam. After passing that, they would commence 2 years of practical training, entitled to 12 days leave per year, and rest of the requirements of the 2 years practical training would apply to these students. Scenario 3 of practical training, where the student has passed one of the group of the intermediate in May exam under the old scheme, they would be appearing and passing the remaining group, or required to appear and pass the remaining group of intermediate under the old scheme in November 2023. So that then they would have passed both the groups, making them eligible to commence the 2 years of practical training, and all the conditions and criteria relating to 2 years of practical training would be applicable to them. Scenario 4 for practical training: students who will pass both the groups of intermediate exam either in May 23 or November 23 under the old scheme, they would be able to commence their practical 2 years practical training immediately and go along the path to become the chartered accountant under 2 years for the with 12 days leave per year, registration with final course, qualify self-paced, do the AICIT SS course after completion of 2 years of practical training, and for them the eligibility to appear for final exam would be 6 months after completion of the practical training. So friends, these were some of the scenarios which we had envisaged, and we thought we should discuss and deliberate with you. You can clarify your doubts. We would be very, very happy to respond to them. But we would request you, like I mentioned earlier, to please read the FAQs which have been hosted at the Institute's website. The link has been given. In fact, even if you don't remember the link, you just log into the Institute's website. On the homepage itself, we have created a tab of new scheme of education and training. You click that and you will get all the details. You will get the notification, you will get the announcement of June, you will get the transition scheme, you will get the prospectus, you will get the syllabus, you will get the study material. Everything you will get on this link. And you can also write to the Board of Studies at the bos@ici.in, or we have created a new mail ID also, which we request you to kindly note: bos.nset, that is the new scheme of education and training, bos.nset@icai.in. So with that, we come to the close of the presentation and the scenarios that we had, and we are exactly at 7 o'clock. Madam, maybe a couple of responses you can give to the questions that have come up before we end the session.
Right. Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving your detailed presentation on the conversion scheme and the quick points about the new scheme also. And sir, one thing which I would like to also say, students are very, very anxious. So we have got, for today's session, we have got 1,000 plus queries from the students. And so let me also tell you, almost all the queries we have already covered in our FAQs and the session which you have taken today. We have tried covering everything, but some peculiar questions are there, which, sir, I will also rather pose before you, and they're very interesting also. One of the question is, student is saying that I have passed both the groups of intermediate under this old scheme. So I'll be automatically exempted from giving set C and D of the self-paced. He said, if I'm wanting to do that, can I do it? Sir, that is what, sir, you said it, but I'm saying specifically questions have come on that. And sir, it shows how anxiously and how interesting and how very diversified our scheme is, that the kind of subjects which have been covered in set C and D, students are really anxious to do it, sir. That is what I wanted to bring. And I wanted to bring to the knowledge of all the students who are listening also. So students, everybody is very anxious and we are really happy to note. And one thing which our vice chairman has also apprised, students, you can always do it. There is no stopping to learn more and more. Rather, yes, yes, there is no fees. You may continue to learn because learning is something which we need to continue doing it till the time we are working. So that is something is very, very important. And it's a second very important question. I think students are actually, what has happened? They have, few of the students, maybe many more also would have said they have joined their articleship, say in the last week of June 23, just before the announcement of the scheme. So students are saying, can I shift to the 2 years of training? So again, that's a very interesting, they also see 2 years is a very uninterrupted. They can learn at their own pace. They'll learn the entire phases of practical training. So I think students are very enthusiastic. Sir, I think in this case, those who have started the 3 years, yes, you have to continue, but there is an alternative. You may terminate the training or say few days you have undergone. You enter into the fresh training, say after 1st July, and then you are eligible to do the 2 years of training. Am I right, sir? Anything you would like to add?
Provided the student has passed both the groups of intermediate.
Yes.
That is one. And second is that no credit would be given for the days that the student would have served when he or she would have undergone the 3 years of practical training, and the 2 years the student will have to start from scratch. So these are the two things the student need to keep it in mind.
Yes. And sir, another question, sir.
No, madam, see, this is very interesting. Actually, the students' excitement and the kind of questions they come are very interesting. And our principal, the chairman, has acted as the principal of the college.
Sir, students are also very anxious to know about the self-paced online modules. They're saying what will be the exam pattern and whether it is going to be open book exam. So one thing, sir, I would like to tell to the students, it is going to be a closed book exam only. And the exam pattern, sir, would you like to throw some light on it, sir?
The exam committee will do something. Yeah, so let the exam committee come out with it, because that has to go through a complete council approval, the mechanism which is there.
Right.
But only thing, yes, what we can tell at this point in time is going to be very experiential learning, because that is something which people have to understand. So, madam, just to extend one, because I heard some people talking on the YouTube channels, they have been deviating the students from what the surface is going to be and all. Dear students, let me just tell you one thing on behalf of the entire institute and council, that, we have been very conscious about getting the self-paced learning concept in the entire system. So please understand, it's going to be one, benefit of learning will be there. Number two, it's going to be experiential. Number three is not, we want to make it tough. We want to make it more enjoyable learning rather than anything else. So don't worry about those aspects, madam. I think let us communicate to the students also. It will be good for them. And please don't get carried away in any kind of other deliberations. If the chairman, myself, board of studies, madam, or the council members say something about the self-paced learning, then only believe what it is. Otherwise, my request to you all people is just follow what ICI, your parent institute, is giving you. That's it.
That's right, sir. Sir, actually, I brought this question before you was that how anxious students are. They want to know about it as to really how the exam pattern is going to be, how they are going to learn. And that's very right. Rightly put, it's going to be an experiential learning. And another question which the student is saying, will revalidation before November 23 exam be considered revalidation, last revalidation in old scheme or first in new scheme? So, sir, this question I'll answer. For students for November 23 exam, revalidation will be open till the time the exam forms are there. And that is going to be the last revalidation for November 23 exams. But for the this is not the first in the new scheme. Once you get you are not able to pass or you are unsuccessful in your November exam, then what will happen when you are getting converted? That will be the first revalidation. Rather, that will be the first time you will be converting. So that is something, there is a distinction. So would you also like to add anything on it, or is it okay?
So it's like beginning from scratch.
Yes, it is going to be beginning from scratch.
On the date of conversion to the new scheme, it's like you are beginning from scratch. Your registration would start from that day again, sort of. So not exactly like that, but so it, and your 5-year or your 10-year period would be counted from that day.
From the date of their conversion. Yes, that is it. And like another question is, students are wanting to know that whether the our material, whether we'll be still the Hindi medium will also be continued in the new scheme. So students, Hindi medium and English medium, both are there in the new scheme also. And very soon you will be also able to get the material in Hindi also for the students who are going to opt for Hindi medium. I think, sir, most of it are the questions we have all covered. And another thing, sir, students are, sir, one last question which I just would like to ask. Students are just wanting to know as to what are the advantages of the new scheme, sir. If in, sir, 2-liners you can do it, sir. I think we have been time again saying it. I think if you can conclude in 2 sentences.
Advantages.
Advantages, sir.
Advantages is one thing which I can tell you is I would love to write my exam again. That is my excitement. I think even the chairman will agree to it. He was more intelligent than me in my examination time, his examination time.
No, I would like to say that this new scheme is a very futuristic scheme, considering the various aspects. And, right from the inception of CRET, the thought process. Because if you look at the history of CRET, and which we shared during the outreach last year also, that normally these syllabus and the schemes were revisited every 10 years. And this time the council thought it fit to revisit it after a span of 5 years, because the last change happened in 2017. And this committee for review of education and training was formed in 2021. And we are in 2023. So from 17 to 21, if we see, or from the date, the earlier scheme, it is 5 years that it is now getting implemented. So that itself for me, and if you look at the objectives of the CRET being formed earlier with respect to the international standards, international curriculum, the NEP, the multidisciplinary, the diversification, and 2 years practical, the uninterrupted practical training. If you ask me, that for me is one of the most important aspects and a very, very unique aspect. And I am extremely confident that with these 2 years of uninterrupted practical training and students seriously undergoing practical training, the success ratio of the students at the final examination would definitely improve. This is how I would look at this whole scheme from my side.
So, Chairman, if you permit.
Yes, sir.
See, a couple of things which are very important when the new scheme of curriculum was being discussed and deliberated, students. One is the most important part is the alignment of the subjects, what we have done, the syllabus, what we have done. That is one of the most important part, because the flow of knowledge which has to happen at what stage and age is actually been really thought about, and that has been put before the students for the entire learning. Number two, I think one thing which you missed out, Chairman, which is one of your favorites, is 3070, which is the MCQ based at all the three levels, which is again one more thing which is very interesting in all the papers. That is something very, very different and very interesting to look at. Number three would be, the beauty about this entire course is complete your intermediate, come learn practical side, go back and write your final. So this is something which has been completely realigned, because the focus of a student, when you talk from the point of view as an articleship, when you are going through, you have to attend a class, you need to sit for studies, you need to do this, you need to do that. Now the focus is with 6 papers particularly, not 8 papers. We have not, diluted anywhere anything, any learning experience and the subjects which have been there. So a person has to write handwritten exam of 6 papers in intermediate, which can be a focused learning where the realignment of subjects and syllabus has been done. Number 2, he completes his entire learning writing examination, and one fine day there might be a situation where the institute premises are going to be full of students for attending classes before their articleship, and during the articleship they can happily learn what they want to learn with focused approach, which has industrial training also, international industrial training also. That is another thing. And after completing that, when you're doing self-paced learning, that is all experiential. Again, we are putting it very clear. It is not an inter-exam level or not it is a final level. It is somewhere in between, which is more of a walkthrough when they are going through their articleship, practical training. That quality of learning is going to come in the self-paced learning. And I think these are, some of the important things apart from what Chairman has said, and there is much more rather we can say.
Thank you, sir. I think,
On and
sir,
on.
Sir, I had asked you 2 lines, but sir, I think the way you are, sir, you are so much overawed by this scheme. I think you are not able to stop yourselves. So I think you can go on pages and pages on this, sir.
Madam, the testimony is very clear, which Chairman also will agree. When we did the outreach, 85% plus percentage of people have given a positive feedback.
That's true.
And
Very
they have
right.
given
That's
their
very right.
sincere feedbacks. Those are also been considered. The deliberation which we had at a council level, that also are been considered. Today we have released the FAQs. We are discussing about this presentation, which is very crystal clear in the entire thought of the entire council, board of studies, what we want, how our students have to be, what they have to look at. Might be over a shorter period of time. They might feel that, somewhere they have got stuck. But the point is, if you just sit back and relax and understand that, it is always going to be in favor of the student only. That is what is going to be very important.
That's very right, sir. Sir, one thing more I would like to add is that for the November 23 exams, our online learning classes are on for November 23. And very soon for our May 24, for the new scheme, we'll be also launching the classes for all the levels, and the dates and announcements will be made for this also, I think, in a very shorter duration. So students, do not worry. The Board of Studies is always there with you, and we'll be helping you for your new scheme also. And the online learning classes will be there in the morning and evening. And the entire coverage of the syllabus will be done for the new scheme also. And sir, would you like to say anything, sir?
Only thing, madam, I think chairman has put in a lot of efforts in the MCQs kind of software which we have developed. That is one very important part. Second is Saransh, which has actually been released by Board of Studies, which is a pictorial presentation. This is a patent of ICI only, which has not been done by any of the other, universities or colleges or any other faculties at any given point in time. Number 3, students honestly request you all people to be in touch with the BOS portal And what we are trying to do is only and only in the interest of you people, we are trying to do more and more simpler. If you see the new study material, which is already published on the website, you will appreciate the kind of approach which we have followed. And finally, which I request my chairman to talk about how and which way you students have to be connected with the BOS portal. I request you, sir, to kindly give the students a right direction, Chairman, sir, that, these people actually get connected with the institute, because this is the mother body which is actually going to give them all the learning. Over to you, Chairman.
Yeah, thank you. So my final concluding remarks, and which Vice Chairman sir has already given me what to speak about, is, friends, at the Board of Studies, let me be very honest, right from the faculties to the director, the vice chairman, the chairman, and under the leadership of the Honorable President and Vice President, day in, day out, we are just working for the benefit of students. Even this MCQ dashboard, which Dayabai mentioned, which is efforts, again, a teamwork, because each of the faculties have spent a lot of time in framing the MCQs, evaluating them, the case scenarios, and putting it into the software, which is for the benefit of the students. And let me assure you, we are all working on targets that for each subjects at each of the level, there should be sufficient question bank available for the students, which can help them practice. A lot of initiatives with which Vanna Madam also discussed, Dayabai also discussed. And I would request you that, one, that please take maximum use of the initiatives which the Board of Studies does on a regular basis. We have the live learning classes, we have the mock tests that we conduct. Definitely the study material, RTPs, are suggested answers, they are always there. We have added these MCQ practice exam, the dashboard. There are a lot of other things that we do. And if you log into the BOS knowledge portal, or even I would request you, please download the BOS mobile app. You will find a lot of material which is there for students. And let me assure you, as Chairman Board of Studies, that if you utilize all the, I would say, services or the activities which the Board of Studies academic does for the students, you do go through that 100%, I can assure you that nobody can stop you from becoming a chartered accountant. This is my assurance from your side, because a lot of efforts are being put in. We also have the helpline where you can drop in your questions to the faculties from the knowledge portal, from the app, and the faculties would respond to your queries wherever you are finding difficulties in them. And I understand that in the last council meeting where we presented our report, we had responded by that time to more than 14,000 queries of the students on various aspects and different subjects at different levels. So we are proactive over here, and we are also open to improvements and suggestions, which as students you feel that as Board of Studies we need to do or we need to improve upon. And let me assure you on behalf of the whole board that we would be patiently listening to you, understanding, and wherever possible would be definitely rolling that out for the benefit of students. I think this is what I would say as Chairman Board of Studies and in my closing remarks. And I wish all of you a very, very successful career ahead. And always, please feel free to connect to us for any difficulties or any questions you have. We are there for you only. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for the concluding remarks from your end and from the Vice Chairman, sir. And I hope students, your queries, the thoughts which were coming into your mind before this session, I think would have come to rest. I think they are put to rest. But one thing you must note, like which has been shared by the President, sir, our Vice President, sir, by our Chairman, sir, and by Vice Chairman, sir, that the Board of Studies, ICI, is there with you at each step of your journey. Anything, any query, wherever you are having any doubts, you can always come back to us. And the students, we are always with you. And please take care of, please look into, please take care of all the initiatives which the Board of Studies is taking for you and make use of them. And we all assure you that you are always going to be successful and you are going to carry forward the name of the institute much ahead. Thank you and good day to all of you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Recording stop.